to my mom's channel.
Shannon Confidential.
Shannon Confidential. She would really appreciate it.
On
We're
YouTube.
trying to grow the numbers and get this ball on the road for her. So
Thank you.
do me a favor.
Go to YouTube, search Shannon Confidential, and hit subscribe. It's free.
Just like everything, subscribe. Just flood
There you
us.
Go. Thank you. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Shannon Confidential. I am Shannon, your host, and this is
Taylor.
my co-host, and we are here for Shannon Confidential, which is a podcast about life, love, and everything in between. And that means it doesn't matter who you are in this world, man, woman, child, what religion you are, what sex you are, what you identify as, how much money you make, where you live. The fact is we all have stuff we have to deal with. We all have financial problems, children problems, family problems. We have good things that happen in our lives. We have bad things that happen in our lives. We have insecurities. It really doesn't matter. We're all the same in so many ways. And mental health, whatever it is. And this podcast is just to talk about things that happen in life, my daughter's life, ideas that you guys have written into me. Thank you very much, my viewers. And we talk about them, and you know, some of them are a little heavier, some of them are a little lighter, but we try to do a little tongue-in-cheek, little happy, and just let you know that you're not alone out there. Now, if you have watched a podcast that I had, I can't remember what episode it was, but it was Things That Go Bump in the Night, and there was a negative time in my life, and I had this black mist that would be up in a corner. It was like a shadow, but that wasn't a shadow. And I go into it in the whole podcast. My daughter, at the time when we were living in the house, my daughter was the only person who saw it, who even knew it was there. And not because I asked her, you know, I didn't lead her to believe that there was something crazy on our walls.
Crawling around?
Yeah, something crawling around on our walls. And it was because I was asking, like, I knew it wasn't a shadow, but I was trying to convince myself I wasn't completely loony. And my son couldn't see it. You know, when their friends came over,
He's
sorry.
an atheist,
So what? Stop that. People who came over couldn't see it. And then one day I went into Taylor's bedroom, and this is where I'll let her pick it up. I went into Taylor's bedroom to clean it up because it is a pigsty when she was growing up. And she had rosary beads.
7.
It's not, no use. She had rosary beads on the corner of each of her bed, and the walls, like she just and Taylor.
So many from CCD class.
And Taylor was she was an interesting child, very artsy. Let's just say, I think it was like first grade in elementary school. She went to, you know, everybody wants to be like a princess, or they have all these great costumes. No, Taylor went as a dead bride, like dead roses, blood. The bridal gown, walked like a zombie.
Nun.
A pregnant nun one time in elementary school.
I didn't even know like how ironic it was.
Yeah.
I didn't understand that. I just wanted to be pregnant. I wanted to be a nun.
So, you know.
I was like 9.
In any case, so for her to have rosary beads all over her bed wasn't necessarily odd, even though for maybe some people that would be completely strange. It wasn't for Taylor, so I didn't think anything of it. And when I questioned her about it, she mentioned this black mist, and that's how I knew she saw it too. Now, it's
odd child.
She was just odd. Not much has really changed.
I really was. I was an outcast.
She was just very different, but we love her. We love her specialness. She's special. So anyway, when I told her I did this episode, she wasn't able to record with us that day. She was traveling, and she was so bummed out because she had a lot to add to it that I didn't realize. There's a lot she did not tell me. And I think this might be a bit therapeutic for everybody involved to hear exactly what she went through, because a couple of things that she mentioned to me were even scarier than the stuff I talked about. So I am going to turn Things That Go Bump in the Night, Part 2, to Taylor.
So what have I told you...
I knew about the rosary beads, and you saw the mist, and it scared you.
But like I didn't say, like I mentioned the stories about like things banging and things moving.
No, unless I was just so freaked out, I put them in a different place. But just you tell okay. Everything.
So it started when I was probably around like 7-ish, 7, 8-ish, and that's when like, you know, it was the worst in our household. Like,
meaning there was a very bad vibe.
Our household was very toxic. But
And we're not talking mold.
no. So I would say, yeah, like I you just have like those fears like growing up as like a child and everything, and like I would constantly watch like all of those like
Scary movies.
spiritual like
The Exorcist or
yeah, and then like The Haunting, like when you come home from
Yes.
school and they would have it like on NBC for like 2 hours.
Oh,
Like
they
I'd
were
watch
such the
every
greatest.
single episode. So like I had like fears that were rational for a kid my age, normal considering the content I was watching. But
I was a good mom.
I
Probably watched it with you.
we did.
I love that stuff. I still do. I can't help it.
And
I love it too. I watch it all the time.
there was it started when I was like in your bedroom, and like you could see like down the hallway, you could see out the bedroom, and that's like towards like the front door and like the walkway.
Okay.
And I would see just like randomly just like not even a figure, just a black blob, just
Like almost a shadow.
yeah, and you
Okay.
see out the corner of your eye, and you look and nothing's there.
And they say this all the time. Go ahead.
And that happened so much, so often, like every single day. Like you would just see stuff move. My bedroom, your bedroom, the kitchen, like just anywhere you were, like you would just see something move, and like you couldn't be like, oh well, it's a person, it's a man, it's you couldn't describe it because it was just black blob.
It was like a black mist. Is it one of those
Yeah.
things like the corner eye and then you turn and look and it's not there? Or were you like
Exactly.
watching it move?
No, I couldn't. Like it wouldn't.
It's like something that like, what? Was something just there? That kind
Yeah,
of thing? Okay.
exactly. So like the more, like the older I got, like the more I would like pay attention to this, and like the more I would watch, and study the supernatural. And I think the first time I was like, oh no, this is intelligent, was Dad and Jake were coming home from lacrosse,
Okay.
and no one else was in the house, and I was allowed to watch TV in your bed. Like I was allowed to be in there, but like when my dad would come home, you run out of the bedroom, like you weren't actually there. So like I hear Dad and Jake pull up, Dusty starts barking, like I'm like, oh crap. So like I grab like my bowl of cereal, like I'm running out of the bedroom, and her master bedroom at that time was big master bedroom here, little hallway, entrance to it, but right by the entrance was the entrance to the bathroom. And I hear like, and I'm like, oh, like I didn't think anything of it. Like, what was that?
Like three?
Just
Three
like
knocks?
just like enticing knocks. I don't know.
With three, or you don't know how many?
This was years. I
Because
have no
sometimes they
idea.
say threes have a meaning.
So
but
here's what happened. This thing, I heard it, and I was like, what was that? Because I knew it was coming from inside the house, and I knew my dad and my brother were outside the house. And normally, when you hear a house creak and bang, like you don't, but this was just like playing with me. So I'm following this sound to try and figure out where it is, and I walk down to the office, which when you come out of the master bathroom, you walk down this way, and here's the front door to the house, and then down this hallway was the office, and then the bathroom that was right next to there. So I'm walking down there, and I hear it again.
oh my gosh, I would be freaking out.
And I'm walking towards it. I'm like, okay, it's not coming from back here. I start walking towards the other side of the house. So I'm passing the master bedroom again. I'm walking towards the living room and whatever, and I hear it come back from the master bedroom. So I walk back into your bedroom. I'm in the bedroom, and I hear it, and I'm like, no, this is like coming from like the bedroom door. Like, so I start walking towards the bedroom door, and I hear it as like I'm looking towards the bedroom, the door, and I hear it coming from right there in the bathroom. And I instinctively knew exactly, because I was close enough, where it was coming from. It was coming from the shower. And when I reenacted it, it was a shampoo bottle, same exact noise, being banged. It was a shampoo bottle coming from your shower, and it was messing with me.
Definitely was trying to get your attention. I
Yes.
don't know about you people, I've got goosebumps all over me.
Me too. So this.
And this thing was always in my bedroom. It was always in my bedroom when I saw it.
Do you remember when you woke up in the middle of the night and it was standing at the foot of your bed?
Yes, I even okay, good. Shivers all over. Peaceful place. Don't come here. Yeah, and I talk about that in the first part that you weren't here for, but I talk about I woke up and you know how they call them night terrors.
It wasn't sleep paralysis.
Yeah, some people call it night terrors, whatever, where you wake up and you know you're sleeping, but you're awake and you're trying to tell yourself to wake up. But I looked at this black mist. It was at the foot of my bed. It didn't have a shape. It didn't look like a person or a thing. It was just there. And I looked at it and I just remembered the terror I felt. Like, oh my God, it's off the wall. It's now looking at me. It didn't have a face. It didn't have any features. But somehow I knew it was just staring at me, and it just didn't feel peaceful. And within a split second, exactly like you see in the movies, I remember having my covers. I was just like, oh my, and I was just like trying to scream for someone to wake up. I was terrified. And it went boom, right next to my head. And I jolted myself awake. And I think, I kid you not, I think I started to say Hail Marys. I started talking about how much I love Jesus and God, and you're never going to get to me because I'm protected. Like, I went back to my Catholic religion roots in a split second. It terrified me. So yeah, I woke up and it was at the foot of my bed.
But were you still sleeping, or were you just starting to wake up? Like, were you sleeping?
I felt like I was
because I remember you telling me that you reached for Dad, and when you reached for Dad, it was gone.
I don't even remember. I felt awake, and I felt like I was trying, you know, like when you're...
You guys had a poltergeist. I just looked up.
I'm telling you, you can look it up all different things.
Just wait till my next story.
And so I just remember, like, you know, when you're trying to yell at, like if you're having a really active dream and someone hears you and you're screaming like coherently in your dream, but the person hears you going, you know, you're not really projecting.
Yeah.
That's what it was. But I was awake.
Yeah.
Like this was like 100 years ago. Well, not quite 100 years ago. This was a long time ago, and it was like it was yesterday. Like, I will never forget that. Yeah. I forget dreams. I'm not going to forget that. But anyway, so go ahead.
So, you know, it wasn't uncommon for me to be left home alone growing up. Like, I could fend for myself. I knew to lock the door. And then, you know, when you were both at Jake's game or at the field, they were both presidents of soccer and football leagues. So, like, they were constantly at, like, the fields. And like I was home alone a lot of nights, and
that's making me feel really
I remember, no, it's fine, like I didn't do anything. So I remember I was sitting at
Mother of the Year award.
I watched SpongeBob and The Haunting, like there's nothing else.
That explains a lot.
So I was in our kitchen setup was open. It was very open, and there was like an island that would come this way, and then you could see over the island to the living room, and it was very open. And then in the corner was our kitchen table. So if you're sitting in the kitchen in the corner at the kitchen table, you could see everything in that room.
Yeah.
And I could see the sink. And we would put our recycling next to the sink, and then like once like 2 or 3 bottles would pile up, we would bring it out to the recycling bin in the garage. And
I did teach some not good things.
We had an orange juice container that was pushed back to the very back of the counter, and the counter was like this long, and this was at the very back next to the sink. And I'm sitting there just eating a bowl of cereal and just watching whatever. And if you look at the TV, you can well in your peripheral view see the kitchen. And I just see in a second the orange juice container fly off the counter and across, not to the other counter, but to the floor on the other, like, so there's like the walkway, and it flew over there. So off a counter that was this big, across the floor. I watched this orange juice container, when no one else was home, just fly off. I wasn't scared at all. I actually had a sense of...
how weird she is? That would terrify me.
Like, if you were watching a movie, you'd be like, oh my God, get out of the house!
Because if you react, they feed off of it.
Yes, they feed off your energy. So she was like, I am tougher than you.
But it's also, I was like, that didn't just happen. that did not just happen. That
I've been out of the house.
no. But when it happens, you're like, come on, like that didn't.
Well, that you're just like, that only happens in the movies. That didn't really,
I
like, the air kicked
genuinely
on, or, you know.
didn't believe that I just saw what I saw. I was
Which
like, there's
probably is a very normal reaction.
yeah. I calmly got up and I just picked it up and I just put it back.
You're like, yeah.
It's just like, okay. I, like, even as, like, a kid, would never, like, this is normal for every kid, I think, but just, like, you have, like, that petrifying fear of, like, when you shut the lights off, you run to your bed and you just don't want anything to, like,
there's
grab
gonna be,
you
like,
from
grab
the
you
bed.
from underneath or come out of your closet.
Yeah, but I would just have, like, these super, not panic attacks, but always just feeling like someone was watching me in my bedroom. That's why I had the Rosary Beads. And, like, when Christmas time would come around, I would not shut off Christmas music in my bedroom. Like, I would constantly have Delilah playing Christmas music 24/7 for 3 months a year.
Gosh.
Like, there was just, like, good vibes only. Like, I would try and keep my Christmas lights up in my bedroom for as long as I could because I'd keep them on day and night. Like, I would never have to be in, like, the dark. And they're watching that fly off, and then the shampoo bottle. Like, it wasn't like, you know, a movie where it's, like, constantly something every single day happening.
Yeah.
And, like, you live in constant fear. Like, it was my house. Like, you know, I felt safe there. But I also, growing up in that environment, I normalized it. So, like, you kind of just were like, okay.
This is my life, and this is what happens to me.
Yeah. And, like, I've always sensed things, like, way more than, like, a normal person. Like, I'm a little bit psychic, and I'm not trying to, like, get too much into, like, you know, astrology, but I am a Cancer, and that is in my nature. But I feel things way deeper than the normal person would. And I just knew that there was something there, and, you know, those subtle things, and watching it go. And I'm trying to think, there's no other crazy thing that had happened. It was the shampoo bottle, and it was the OJ container. It was just the energy, you know. We were in a household that was not healthy, and that energy definitely attracted that.
Oh, yeah, they do. They attract it. Yeah, they thrive on that. It helps them.
I think it actually followed me for a little bit. I have some friends that could vouch for me, but the first place I lived in by myself, the toilet seat would constantly slam. Like, someone like messing with you. And they'd be like, yo, that's your toilet seat. Like, someone's lifting it up and, like, slowly tapping it. That happened in my first place. And then I started burning sage. And then I started, you know, like, I announced, you're not welcome here.
I had a priest as a roommate.
It's true.
No,
like, you need to just, like, make yourself
control your presence.
Yeah, like, you're not gonna mess with me. Like, this is my home. This is whatever. So that's my experience.
Yeah,
The
little
black
kooky,
blob.
little kooky.
Yeah.
Not kooky. I shouldn't. That's the wrong word. It's kind of freaky, really. But yeah, I do believe at that was that time there was a lot of negative energy, and I think it attached itself to the people who were feeling it the most.
Just
and I
things
think
you
that
can't
was
explain.
yeah.
Like, there's
it's
no
just,
logical explanation of. There's no draft. There's no wind. Like, there's no.
Yeah, there was
fan.
no lights on, but yet there's a shadow. Like, it just didn't make sense. But I have to tell you, when my life improved and I was no longer living in that home, never once did I ever have that come back. I've never had it again. It's terrifying, but I knew you had more to add, and I thank you very much.
I think when you're going through a traumatic time in your life, that negative things attach to you.
Yes, and I
yeah.
do believe some people have more open
Spiritual,
hearts
physical,
and
mental.
Yeah, I do believe that, like, kids or whatever, their innocence is they can grasp that. If you know what was in our house or our former home or
Kids
what
and
we were
dogs.
dealing with,
Definitely more sensitive to it.
please send us an email. I would love to hear your insight. If you have anything that could help us put it into an explanation other than there's something in our house, we would really appreciate it. And thank you for your story. Things that go bump in the night, part 2. Thank you. here we are, our Be Kind quote of the day, and I'm going to give you a quote that relates to what Taylor just talked about, things that go bump in a night, part 2, her experience with our black mist. And that quote is, learn how to separate your courage from your conditions. Do not feed your fear. Learn how to separate your courage from your conditions. Do not feed your fear. There you go. Okay, so now it's time for style secrets, and this is when I pay forward something good that I've experienced, my friends have experienced, or something that I want to share with all of you that, you might benefit your life. And if you watch any of my other podcasts, I'm not quite a fitness buff by any stretch of the imagination, but I did think, now that I just turned 50, that maybe it's time to add...
50. 50. 50.
Thank you.
Thank
you. Anyway. Didn't tell her to do it and didn't pay her to do it.
And I wear sunblock. She didn't wear sunblock growing up. So imagine what I'm going to look like at 50.
Pretty damn good. So, anyhow, thank you for the promo. I decided to add a little fitness in my life. Now, I'm no gym rat and I'm not anything like that. Not that there's anything wrong with it. But I needed to find to do something that wasn't going to hurt my joints because I just don't recover as well as I used to. And I've always danced. And the one thing that I was flipping through Instagram and I saw this program, Extend Bar. It's the Open Fit app. And it was an Extend Bar by Andrea Rogers on the Instagram. She was advertising her exercise class. So I thought, you know what? Ballet bar, that's not, you're not pounding, you're not running, you're not lifting weights, which I don't do. And I thought, let me try it. Let me just, who doesn't want to snap a quarter off their ass? So I just decided I'm going to go ahead and do that. So I did. I subscribed and I downloaded her app and I'm now doing her. Today will be the 3rd day of her 30-day challenge. And hopefully by day 30, I'll be back to my 20s. So that is it. Extend Bar with Andrea Rogers on Open Fit.
Comes with a quarter.
Thank you. Confidential questions. This is where we ask you to write to us, tell us what you think, feel like, dislike, ideas you want to hear us talk about, stuff we have talked about and you have opinions on it. We'd love to hear from you. If you know what the heck that black mist was in our home, please help us with the poltergeist. We don't even know.
Or science articles.
Yeah, or you have one in your house, we'll come record it. I mean, seriously, I'm all into it anyway.
We love science.
We love it. So we'd love to hear from you. You can send all your emails to shannonconfidential007@gmail.com.
And make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel because if we don't get the subscriptions, then we're doing this for nothing.
Nothing to say anything wrong with it. We're having a blast.
We're having a blast.
Yes, please go to YouTube, Shannon Confidential. Hit the red subscribe. It's free. I need to bring those numbers up.
Everything.
Thank you.